Hello again, Lakers. This is part 2 of the video. In the first part, we created a presentation and created an exploded view of our Automoblocks assembly. The second part, we're going to take that presentation, we're going to put it into a drawing and create a parts list with balloon labels and also a materials list that goes along with it. And we'll even put a little bit of a kind of a skimpy title block on there and get ready to turn it in as a PDF. So let's go ahead and get started. Similar to the drawing that we did before, we're going to create another drawing, and I can do it this way. We get a standard DWG file, or I can select it from here. I'm going to select this one. And I need to make a few modifications first to submit this to a teacher to be graded. I'm going to change the size or the format. So I'm going to go to right click and then edit sheet. I'm going to change it from a D to an A4. And then I'm going to get rid of this title block. We could make our own specific like that, but it takes up a lot of room like this. So I'm just going to delete it, and we'll add some text for a kind of a cheating title block at the end of this. So the first thing I need to do is, what am I going to make the drawing of? So I do base. I'm going to come down here. It says select document. So I'm going to be careful. What I want is that IPN, that exploded presentation. So I'm going to click that, and it gives that to me. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. It's put it in kind of a weird orientation. So I'm going to click on that, or edit view. I'm going to go back here, hit my home view, and it gives it to me more or less the orientation that I want. You can manipulate that cube if you need to get it in the correct orientation. Next thing I'm going to think about is the scale. That's a little bit small for what I want to draw. Whoops, I didn't save that change. Do that all the time. And I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to go back and say edit view. Now I'm going to change the scale. So 1 to 4 is too small. What's 1 to 2 look like? That's better. That's better. I'm just wondering what was 1 to 1.5 look like. I think we can get away with that. As large as possible without making it too cluttered, I think will be good. And I'll drag that and recenter it over there. Okay. So again, it gives me this black and white drawing here. If I want to change that, if I prefer that more realistic view, again, I can go to edit view and I can change it to shaded, hit OK, and it looks like that. That's going to be up to you. How do you want to present it? I think it looks fine this way. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a parts list, and that's so simple. I'm going to go to annotate, and I'm going to go over to, well, fittingly enough, parts list. Hit that, and it's going to ask me or prompt me, what do I want to make a parts list of? So I'm dealing with the assembly, demo assembly. So it's essentially, it's this thing. So I'm going to go ahead, yes, hit that one, and it's going to automatically give me this. Now I'm going to drag this over here, and you'll notice automatically it's filled those in. I hit escape for a second just to look at it. It gives me some items. There's 3 things in there: front end, middle section, and I chose to make my wheels. I imported these not as separate parts but as a sub-assembly that I called wheel tire sub-assembly. And there's a description. I don't think we want to use a description, so one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this parts list. So I right click on that and I get edit parts list. I'm going to bring that there. I'm going to scroll over to and mouse over these. I want to do column chooser. So one of the things I don't think is really useful in this case is the description, although it could be useful in other cases. I'm going to click that. I'm going to say remove. And what I do want in there is the materials. So I'll scroll down here, find material, and hit add, and hit OK. And apply, and OK. So what do we have in this case? Well, now we've got our picture. We've got the item numbers, we've got the quantities of each one, and we also then have the materials. So I selected to render my body parts out of birch. The wheel tire assembly, I did select, I think, ABS for the wheel and rubber for some form of rubber for the tire. But since it's 2 things, it's not giving me that, and that's okay for today. One more thing, a couple more things we want to do. Let's go ahead and do some balloon labels, and you'll see how easy this is. So I'm going to go ahead and hit balloon. I don't want to do auto balloon. I'm just going to do balloon, and I'm going to select a part and select it and pull that balloon out. Right click, continue. There it is. So it's telling me item 1 is the front end. Hit balloon again. That's already highlighted, so I'll hit this, hit it, get it red, pull it out, right-click continue. Now it's saying item 2 is the middle section. It's labeled that, and then we'll quickly do the tires, still on balloon. So I'll click it, it's red, pull it out, right-click continue, and you get the idea here, continue. And those are then labeled. And again, you can grab this guy in just the right spot and pull it back out. You might have everything as a separate part, and that's okay. But the point is, what we now have labels, these balloons correlate to our parts list. Last thing that we're going to do on this is we're going to just make kind of a, like I said, a cheat header. So I'm going to do text. I'm going to drag a box across. That always gives me stuff that's a little too small. I'm going to max it out, and I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to name what it is. This is the Automoblocks exploded view. And I'm going to say, by who? By me. You'll, of course, put your name in there. And I'm going to hit OK. And it puts it in there. It runs into a little bit of my text, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get that crosshair, drag that down so it's not blocked. That's what I want for this higher level of this reverse engineering assignment. Last thing though is, remember, just like the other drawing, I don't want you to save this as a drawing, a .dwg. It'll save in your folder, but I don't want you to send that to me. I want you to export this just like we did the last one as a PDF, and you'll send the PDF to me. That way I can grade it on any format, any operating system. I can use my phone. It's a small file and it will go back and forth really fast. Okay guys, go ahead and get to work.